I was silly and I had to restart. Because I wrote this poem down in my book in red ink, and then I thought, oh yes, I'll use a red light for this one, don't know why. And then I couldn't see it, and I was like, I can't see it, I'm sure I wrote this down. And I had written it down in red ink. I'm wearing a pretty dress. I am not going to stand up and show you. It's for me, not for anybody else. Wow, that was a big loud bang. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh yes, I'm gonna drink some tea. Not that I'm expecting anybody to show up again. Without consistency, there is no. I hit my brain sometimes. Anyway. Oh, that's good tea. That is Sweet Dreams tea, and it's part of the Twinings. This is not a sponsored video, clearly. It is part of the, it will be backwards, but it's the Twinings Wind Down collection, and in it you get 4 sleep teas, 4 other sleep teas, 4 Sweet Dreams teas, 4 moment of calm teas, and 4 time to unwind teas, and they all have different herbs and flowers. And why am I scratching my ear like that? I don't know. Yeah, and they all have different botanics and things, all designed to help you wind down and go to sleep. The poem. So today I'm reading this poem. I don't know if you can. There we go. Oh! No, it's being weird. Ooh, spoopy. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's Kiss of Darkness. Not because it was the most viewed, but because it had a couple of likes on it, and I fancied the challenge of reading a longer poem. So I'm just going to stick to my usual routine of reading it once, talking some crap, reading it again, talking some crap, and then saying goodbye. So Kiss of Darkness. The darkness smiles from the corner of the room, beckoning me in. Blue lights, pinpricks in the inky black, illuminating parts of me once purposefully left in the dark. Come sit on my knee, it says, with an electric smile, unexpected, of something so absent of light. Enough to give whole folk a fright, but I'm not whole. I'm broken. I'm craving superglue. I do as it asks. Sit straddling the knee of something I shouldn't, letting the shame fill me like the hot heat of lust. I trust the dark. It never changes. The darkness envelops me in an all-encumbering embrace, puts its face to my face and welcomes me home, commenting on my growth. I lean in closer, putting my mouth to its lips, letting it flow into me, a kiss truer than love. It takes over, filling me with confidence in myself. I am now the darkness, and it is me. We exist in a symbiosis, a balance, tipped in the favour of savouring pain, like it's the last earthly pleasure. Hello, Brendan. That was only the first reading, and I do 2 per live. Hope you're doing all right. Yeah. So yes, that was my exploration of embracing darkness, I suppose, and how being okay with those parts of yourself, those red flags, or like maybe not red, well, yeah, they probably are red flags. It's being okay with being yourself, even if yourself isn't shiny happy people. I look like a Disney villain by accident, and I'm okay with that. And sometimes I lean into it, like with this dress and poem, exploring the dark side. I've always enjoyed exploring the dark side. I have always been morbid. I've always had a fascination with death, the macabre, gothic things. Always looked like a goth, dark hair. It's just one of those things. I look like an Adams by accident, so maybe I am an Adams. That's fun. Sit up straight. I need to sit up straight. So I started about 10 minutes late maybe. So I'm gonna sit here. What am I gonna do? It's the blue light. The blue light, like, kind of. It's like a sit, stare. Like it helps me to just drift away, slowly. We just don't know. We just don't know what's going on sometimes, do we? Huh? But yeah, so I don't know why I did that. I won't be able to read without those, but I just fancied taking them off for a second because sometimes they bother my nose a little bit. And as you can see, I couldn't be bothered putting any makeup on, so it's just blue lights and a pretty dress. What more can you ask for, apart from a bit of effort? Sorry. Anyway, so I think I will read again. Excuse me. Kiss of darkness. The darkness smiles from the corners of the room, beckoning me in. Blue lights, pinpricks in the inky black, illuminating parts of me once purposefully left in the dark. Come sit on my knee, it says, with an electric smile, unexpected of something so absent of light. Enough to give whole folk a fright, but I'm not whole. I'm broken and craving superglue. I do as it asks, sit straddling the knee of something I shouldn't, letting the shame fill me like the hot heat of lust. I trust the dark. It never changes. The darkness envelops me, in an all-encumbering embrace, puts its face to my face and welcomes me home, commenting on my growth. I lean in closer, putting my mouth to its lips, letting it flow into me, a kiss truer than love. It takes over, filling me with confidence in myself. I am now the darkness, and it is me. We exist in a symbiosis, a balance tipped in the favour of savouring pain like it's the last earthly pleasure. I think I like this one. I like dark and dramatic things, and that's probably quite dark and dramatic. There's reasons that I like dark and dramatic things, but there's literally no reason to sit on the internet talking about it. I just enjoy putting my experiences into creativity, and I think that's a good way to help someone process dark memories, thoughts, anything like that. Art is, well, it's a therapy, really. A lot of the people whose work that I appreciate, I'll give you an example of Antonin Artaud. He was a French surrealist, theatre practitioner, dabbled in film, acted, I think it was that he did mostly in film, but he was a physical theatre practitioner, and he invented a style of physical theatre called the theatre of cruelty. And I'm pretty sure that's where the whole art should calm the disturb and disturb. Good art should calm the disturb and disturb the calm. And he also believed that art should be disposable, and his stuff is very visceral and was very shocking. But that would be because he died very young, in his 20s, I'm pretty sure, late 20s. But he spent most of his life in and out, especially his adult life, in and out of sanatoriums, and he was addicted to lithium. And I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with the surrealist style of his work. Not too sure how tight of a grasp that he had on reality, but for me his work was profound. And when I learned about it and studied it, I did find that it was something that I could relate to, just in that I always enjoyed the darker side of life, always. I was Wednesday and grew into Morticia, and it was always, I was the quiet kid in the corner with a book. I read The Brothers Grimm before I stand a Disney movie, which meant that when I watched Disney movies that were based in the German folklore, then I knew which stories they were. But I always preferred the Brothers Grimm's version, like Cinderella, where the ugly sisters, one of them cuts off her toes, and one of them a big toe, and one of them cuts off a heel, and there's a bird in a tree, and that's how Cinderella gets her dress. It was very complicated, hard to remember, very old language. But I think I was 7. I told you in another video that I was hyperlexic, and that was one of the books that was in my room, along with poems for children, a collection of poems for children where I first read The Jabberwocky, which is probably one of my favourite poems. Whimsical nonsense, but makes sense. It has a narrative, even though a lot of the words aren't technically words. Brilliant poem. Like I said, one of my favourites. There was a lot of poems in that book, but that one and the illustrations that went with it were particularly lovely, and I remember them well. But yeah, the Brothers Grimm, I remember reading that, so Snow White, and Cinderella, the one with the hair, Rapunzel. They don't all have the same names in the book. The stories aren't called these things. And some of the stories I think are like taken and like placed and missed and matched and stuff. But still enjoyable stories at the end of the day. But I was always quite content with a book, more content with a book than I was with people. And by the time I was probably about 11, maybe 10 or 11, I remember reading The Green Mile, which was the first book that really made me cry, but it was my introduction to, or was it? I'm not sure if I maybe read Salem's Lot at my grandparents' house when I was maybe 10. And then that was I was already reading horror, but kids' horror, so Goosebumps and Point Horror and anything else I could get my hands on that was creepy, so scary stories for children. I think there's like a whole collection of those, and they were written before I was born, but they were still really good stories. There's one that stuck with me that I've never been able to find the source of the story, but it's probably a really creepy story about these beings that were tall and skinny, and they could hide behind lampposts and pick you off as you walked past. Kind of creeped me out when I was young, made me a little bit wary of lampposts. I don't know. Other spooky stuff, because I said I was going to talk about spooky stuff, didn't I? Spooky stuff, because I'm always surrounded by spooky stuff. I like spooky stuff. It's Halloween 365 days a year for myself in this body. What else is it going to be? Are we a 6,000-year-old vampire that has forgotten how to human? No, we're just a silly little human sitting in the ether, drinking tea from a pumpkin, talking shit on the internet. So spooky stuff. I've done ghost hunting. I come on my father's side from a family of spiritualists, so I've grown up with a very different outlook on death and on spiritualism and on spirits and on things like that. If that's something that you would want me to talk about in this stuff, you would have to come on and ask questions, because it's just my life and it's not something that I would like know how to glorify. My grandma is now dead. Rest in peace, grandma. But yeah, it's a matriarchal thing. Things passed down word of mouth. A lot of closed practices. But yeah, family stuff. But spooky stuff, I've seen stuff, heard stuff, can see stuff, can hear stuff. But again, it's not something I like to openly spout about. They used to burn people like me. So I just keep myself to myself, hiding away in the ether. Okay, baking cookies. I baked cookies today. Again, I've developed an obsession with developing a cookie recipe that is delicious. I don't know why. So I've perfected the original chocolate chip cookie, where it's crispy on the edges but gooey in the middle, and still holds a form once it's cooled. You can't pick it up when it's hot. An American cookie, not a biscuit, because a biscuit is crunchy. If you were to cook the cookies for like a half an hour, they'd become an English cookie where it would be crispy. And why does it feel like my glasses are steaming up? I am not warm. Either. Anyway, what was I saying? Cookies. So I've perfected the vanilla chocolate chip ones, the American ones, the soft, like tasty ones that everyone pays £1,000,000 for in those posh shops. And today I made triple chocolate mint triple chocolate chip cookies. Same concept, gooey in the middle, crispy on the edges. And if you were to cook them longer, they'd be proper, well, not proper, but they'd be English or British biscuits and be crunchy. It's basically an undercooked biscuit, but it tastes very good. Though I'd say if you ate too many of them, you might gain a few inches. Yeah. So I've read the poem twice, and I've talked some crap. So if you're watching back, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave some comments if you want. If you don't, that's fine. Again, I'm just doing this because I like doing it, and I hope everybody has a brilliant present moment. Oh crap, wrong place. Why ask me? Look, all these, like, how awkward is that?